Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center, New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Wednesday. It's Walk on Wednesday. We're going to bring a special guest. But before we announce her specialness, we are going to just say good morning. Good morning to you, Kastuba.
Good morning, Raghunath.
Good to have you aboard.
Good to be with you.
Aboard the good ship Lollipop.
Is that what this is?
This is stupid and funny. Yes. Well, how are you? You know what? I've got a special important information, people. If you were thinking about the Italy trip,
okay,
and you didn't put down your deposit, but you're like, I'm definitely going. You gotta put down your deposit, or it doesn't go because people want that spot. So some people are like, I'm definitively going. I'm definitely going. I'm surely going. Doesn't count unless you put down a deposit. That means you're really going. So if you're thinking about it, contact Vivi today. And what's her email address?
Vivi it's Wisdom of the Sage, WOTS Italy, but let me look it up.
We're going to look that up back later. We've got big news here. News for you here.
What's that?
Okay, hold on. Oh, a second. Here's the Italy address.
WOTS Italy @gmail.com.
WOTS, that's Wisdom of the Sages. WOTS
Italy
@gmail.com. And lock in your spot. Say, I definitely want to go. How can I send you the payment? I want to hold that spot. If you haven't been to Italy, it's a great time. It's in the beautiful Tuscan hills, but we're sort of like living in an ashram. We're living in this ashram palace owned by Prince Machiavelli himself. And it's turned into a temple and an ashram. We do different excursions into Siena, into Cinque Terre.
Went to that magical swimming place this past time too.
It was magical. It was magical. So anyway, it's a great way to have your summer, and it's kid friendly. So if you're interested, give us a hoot. And it's, sometimes to go to Italy on a vacation with your loved one, or it's expensive. It's reasonably priced. And if you're interested, let us know ASAP. It's one of those ASAP things. So here's the great news. December 23rd.
Yeah.
At Divya's Kitchen, we're having the Wisdom of the Sages Christmas extravaganza.
Are we?
It's a Christmas extravaganza. It's come eat dinner with me, Kastuba, and Mara. And we're not charging anything. We're basically all getting out and going out to dinner. Yeah. It's not free. You have to pay for dinner. And, I have to pay for dinner too. It's just like, we're just going out to dinner. It's like, basically you're going out to dinner and all your friends are there.
Yeah. We'll reserve like some section of the restaurant, like
we'll reserve like the whole darn restaurant if you all show up.
And that's from 5 till 7, right?
Yeah. And then we'll go upstairs and do a little kirtan.
Yeah. Little program, little get together afterward.
Devotees love to use that word, program. We'll do a program.
We'll
do a program.
Little kirtan, little kata.
A little kata, little sweet baby.
Okay.
So if you want to do that, but don't just show up.
Jesus?
Little sweet
Right.
baby Jesus. Now,
Right.
don't just show up or else it could get out of control. And you'd be like, where's my seat? There's no seats left for me. That's right. Because you have to write mayor so we can hold the spot. So you got to write wisdom of the sages 108 at gmail.com. And you got to put
Christmas
extravaganza in the subject line.
Okay.
And if you can't spell extravaganza, just write wisdom of the sages X. And we will hold the spot
write
for you.
extravaganza. That way we'll
Okay,
find
write
it.
extravaganza.
Yeah, and so that's from
If
5.
you can't spell, you can't come.
We'll be in the restaurant from 5 until 7, and then we'll spend a little time upstairs too. Friday, that's the 23rd of December. It's coming up. It's just like a week and a half from now or something.
Yeah, very excited for this
It'd
extravaganza.
be wonderful to get together with everyone, to spend a little time in person.
Yeah.
It's a nice chance to do that before we go
Do
to
we-
India.
Do we need to wear costumes? That's my question.
Costumes are appreciated.
Any Christmas costumes? All right.
Yeah.
I can do that. I'm always looking for a way to put on a disguise. All right. Well, I'm going to introduce Sarah Koretsky G. Sarah Koretsky G, and she's got a new last name here, Rosington. Okay, Sarah Rosington. Welcome to the show, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Sarah is a licensed therapist. She's a mother. She's a educator. Yeah. And she's a spiritual wrangler. She wrangles people together and works with Rukmini Devi for the Urban Devi Retreat. And we just wanted to give a little push and a promotion for things that we believe in. We love Rukmini and we love you. Sarah's been a big part of the community. Where, when, and how is the Urban Devi Retreat? Is it a physical retreat? Like I'll be able to touch somebody?
Yes. I'm so excited.
I'm not going to go to a woman's retreat.
Yeah, it's a women's retreat, Raghunath.
You're not
There'll be no
touching anyone,
touching, okay?
I didn't mean it.
Keep your
like
hands
that.
to yourself.
I just meant it. Is it going to be online or is it
No,
gonna be
we are
in person?
actually going to Costa Rica. Where
Aw.
Tag just put that she was going. It is April 17th until April 24th. It is called The Gift of the Feminine Voice. Rukmini will be there, giving her spiritual goodness, all her nuggets, which is amazing. Myself, Kylie Brown, which we're super excited about, will be leading our kirtan.
Oh, Kylie is an incredible kirtan leader.
She
She's
is
here
an
live.
incredible
She's here. I'm
kirtan.
not saying that just because she's live on Zoom right now either. She's actually very, very empowered.
And she will also be teaching yoga because she's expert at yoga. And then Ashley Ellenbass, who has helped me so much to coordinate the retreat, is also going to be one of the presenters. She's like the master plant and herb person. Anything you ever want to learn about herbs, Ashley is the person.
I want to
She's
go on this
amazing.
retreat.
I know. Doesn't it sound amazing? And she'll be doing work with plants in the area and teaching about that, doing yoga. She's also expert at yoga. I will be doing more of a group therapeutic approach on, getting your feminine voice and being able to speak. So I'll be doing a lot of work around just, being able to have your voice and what that looks like. And it's an amazing retreat. We are almost filled up with our individual rooms. We have double rooms and occupancy, and we are just added yesterday. So it should be on the Urban Devi Bhakti Center website. We just added a triple room to make it a little bit more cost effective for people if they would need. It should be amazing. Costa Rica is amazing. I don't know how many people spent time. It's Sonora jungle. It's awesome.
Is it in the jungle or the beach?
We are 5 minutes from the beach.
Oh,
Yeah,
the jungle.
it's amazing. So Ashley was actually the person who found the retreat center. We went back and forth for a long time trying to figure out where to have it. And this is where we got it. And yeah, so I'm super grateful for the opportunity to work with Kylie, Ashley, and obviously Rukmini Prabhu. And it just should be amazing. So we have a lot of Wisdom of the Sage women already going. Before there was the Sage groups, I, with Lara Juno, my Bhakti bestie, started a Women of the Sage group where we would meet every.
We didn't even know about that.
I know,
that's a
Mary used to
secret.
come
That's a secret. It
sometimes.
was one of those secret societies.
It was.
The
Mary-
Sage. It's incredible.
Mara would come
You were
sometimes.
Mara was part of it. She never told me.
Mara, you never told us about this. Secret societies. It's
You're
a Secret Society Wednesday.
You're as sick as your secrets, Mara. You're as sick as
And we miss those meetings, Lori just said, but we do miss the meetings. It was awesome where, and it actually started from an urban Davy retreat that was online. Lyra and I kind of wanted to brief it, and it turned into something bigger. It was amazing. But yeah, so we have a lot of Wisdom of the Sage women going. Krishna Drew's going, Nancy Rothman, Lori Pag. I'm trying to think of everyone. Sorry, but yeah, we have a lot of Wisdom of the Sage women going, and we really appreciate the opportunity to, partner with you and partner with the Bhakti Center.
Beautiful. Super happy for you guys. How
Oh,
can we
Sandra was
sign?
going
How can we
to.
sign? Wait, we just want to make sure. No men allowed. Absolutely no men
No,
allowed. Huh?
man, it's a women's retreat.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I identify with my feminine.
And that's
Whatever.
okay.
That's good.
Raghunath wants to work on his feminine voice,
I know you were Gopi in your past life, so we can
elderly Gopi. Let's be clear about
elderly
that.
Gopi.
All right. Well, that's
Ashley-
great. How do you
Ashley
sign
just
up? How do
put
you get
the-
more information on that?
Okay, so it is on the Bhakti Center page. Ashley just actually put in the chat the link for the retreat. So if anyone's interested, if you have questions, you can actually email me directly from the link, or if you have financial questions, Erin from the Bhakti Center would be able to help you.
There you go, Raghu.
That's great news. That's great news. Thank you, Sarah.
You're welcome.
You're so
Thank
well.
you for-
You're so well spoken.
Oh,
Now, when you do
therapy,
when you're a therapist, you're a licensed therapist. Do you do men or just women also?
No, I see everybody. So
Oh, good, because
in
I'm
Michigan,
a train wreck. I'm a hot mess
Well,
express.
anytime you want to talk, Raghu, I will talk to you. But yeah, I work with men and women. I actually have my own company, Sarah Kratzky Wellness, but I also in Michigan, I see people with insurance through Trio Life.
Okay. I need a team of therapists, I think, like a
We can
team
work with-
following me around, imported from Vienna expressly to work with me and my issues. Okay. Thank you so much, Sarah.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so
Oh,
much, both
Thank
of
you, Sarah.
Thank you,
Haribo.
Sarah. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting our Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya. Bhagavati utamashloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart will become eradicated. And loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Agyana Timarandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Minatam Yena Tasmaye Sri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. Offer my obeisances at their lotus feet.
All right.
Reading from Canto 4, Chapter 30, Text 14.
What?
Text 14.
Text 14.
So we just had this heavenly damsel, society girl from Lochana. She came down. She seduced the sage Kundu. She delivered a child. She left it with the trees to take care of.
I've done that with my kids.
Yeah, every now and then.
Hey,
you
the
leave your kids
trees
with the
are going to be
trees.
your babysitter today.
Okay. She left
Here's
the
a
kid
big
with-
bowl of cereal.
She left this infant with the trees. I don't know what happened to the sage. Right? I don't know where he went. But she left the child with the trees, and then she went back up to the heavens. Okay. Then we pick up text 14.
Thereafter, the child who was left to the care of the trees began to cry in hunger. That's where the maple syrup came in. At that time, the king of the forest, namely the king of the moon planet. What?
Yeah, somehow Chandra has something to do with the forest, right?
Out of compassion, placed his finger, which poured forth nectar into the child's mouth. It's sort of what I was saying about the maple syrup. Thus, the child was.
Is it?
Well, I was
anything
thinking
about
the
maple
trees
syrup.
were going to
Is it,
sort of
Raghu?
breastfeed the child.
But he's not the tree. This is the king of the moon now.
Okay, the king of the moon. Give him some moon juice. I don't know.
Mhm.
Thus the child was raised by the mercy of the king of the moon. Oh, you know what? I miss having babies. My little
Oh,
finger in their mouth, holding them in one hand like a football.
it's
It was
said that
sweet.
the moon nourishes the vegetables, right? Like the moon rays. They're
Yeah, there's
important.
something about moonlight. And,
Yeah.
I don't know. Science is going to catch up to this one, too. Like, we've been growing all
I
these
think it
foods
has
under
already.
grow lamps.
Yeah.
No, it's the moon that nourishes the vegetables.
Even
Now, that
they
might
say
sound so pseudoscience, but you know what? We don't know a lot of stuff, people. We don't know a lot of stuff.
I think there is some science on this, but I'm not familiar with it. So I won't claim to know for sure. But also, even they say the Ayurveda practitioners, they say even the water that the moon shines on is important.
Oh,
Did you
yeah,
know that?
I bet. Well,
Yeah.
I don't know these things, but
I don't
if
either.
it says it, I'm at this point in life. It says it, I believe it.
Okay.
I've come to that point where, like, you know what, I believe that more than I believe my own speculation, more than I believe science. Science is always changing. They've been changing stuff since I was a kid.
Mm.
I
There's-
always like to refer to health food in the 70s when it was light and lively cottage cheese and canned peaches. That was
Light
like
and
health food.
lively.
Iceberg lettuce,
I-
light and lively cottage cheese, and granola was somehow healthy. It was like
Mm.
dumped with sugar, fried in God knows what. And
Well, here in Bhagavad-gita, chapter
baked. Okay, baked. I'm sorry. But I
in
don't know. It could have been fried back then.
Bhagavad-gita, chapter 15, text 13, Raghunath, Krishna says, "I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon, and thereby supply the juice of life to all the vegetables."
I know it makes it sound like the older culture knew. Yeah, of course. That's how we get healthy vegetables. But our culture was like the moon. What does that got to do
Yeah.
with? There's something about moonlight that affects us.
And so he's able to give some nourishment to the child somehow through his finger. All right.
Yep.
I can
I
buy
believe
that.
I believe I can buy that.
Okay.
I
I
accept
don't know
that.
exactly how it is. I'm sure someone could explain it better.
I can tell
But-
time, but I don't know how a clock works.
True. Okay. Let's continue.
Since all of you are very much obedient to my orders, I ask you to immediately marry that girl who is so well qualified with beauty and good qualities. According to the order of your father, create progeny through her.
This sounds like
A little unromantic there.
arranged marriage Wednesday over here.
Yeah.
Okay, so the prachetas, these yogis, are all meant to marry this damsel. I mean, she's like a goddess, right? She's not like an ordinary human being. She's born of this goddess from the higher planets, and she can handle 10 husbands or so. And
She's coming to a town
create
near you.
progeny like in some way that's not like, I imagine we're not talking like, a 9-month wait for each.
No,
Like she can somehow this is a long time ago, and somehow she has a ability to help.
All right, hold the phone here. Ashley Ellenboss, who is doing the retreat.
Oh, is it about herbs? I was wondering. I was just going to say
I
we
was
should ask her.
wondering why
I was
she has
just
so
going to
many
say we
plants
should
in her
ask her.
house.
I was just going to say we
Okay.
should ask her.
All right, Ashley. Yes, she says yes. The gravity of the moon affects the tides, and therefore the moon pulls the water up from the roots into the leaves and the fruits of the plants. We herbalists then harvest depending on where we want the water content.
Okay.
Roots are the best harvested on new moons, and fruits and aerial parts near the full moon. All right, Ashley.
Yeah.
Ashley, right on the board where you live. You got to come up here and teach us this stuff.
And of course, that water has been filtered through the earth, and so it's full of all kinds of minerals. And
thank you, herbalist Kastuba.
yeah, suddenly, because it's coming from me, you shoot it down.
Through the earth.
Just you shoot it down. You're thrilled by one thing, you totally shoot it down. Thanks, Roger. All right.
What else should we do with our plans, Kastuba? Okay. You brothers are all the same nature, being my devotees and obedient sons of your father. Similarly, that girl is also the same type and is dedicated to all of you. Thus, both the girl and you, the sons of Prachini Barishat, are on the same platform being united on a common principle.
This is going to work.
This can work. Hey, by the way, speaking of me and Kostuba, old time buddies, we're having a special guest Sunday to do transcendental poetry named Madan Mohan, and he is one of our old buddies. He rolled with Kostuba and that hardcore posse. He lives upstate now. He's a plant guy himself. He's a plant guy, a gentleman farmer, and just an all-around cool guy, and one of our friends from the old days. And he's going to do poetry, and we're going to talk about him getting into bhakti also on the Lower East Side with Kostuba. And did you know we joined the ashram on the exact same day?
Raghunath, you said that in the past two shows. Yeah, you said it quite a few times now.
Well, Madan Mohan is our guest Sunday. I'm really interested. I talked to him for when I talked to him for like an hour. That's only because yesterday I only had an hour, but I did a cross-country drive one time.
Yeah.
We talked on the phone. I kid you not. We talked on the phone for 7 hours straight, and we just kept on talking. He just kept me awake.
He's just a very relaxed person, you know.
He's just relaxed. He's set up his whole life, so he's just relaxed.
He moves,
but not relaxed doing
world.
Nothing. He's just thinking about stuff.
Yeah,
just thinking about stuff. He's one of those thinkers.
He is.
He's one of those guys you can't say something that's unthoughtful because he'll be like, "Really? That's what you think?" And you're like, "Oh no, I didn't mean to say it like that. I wasn't being thoughtful." Anyway.
Okay, looking forward to that.
But we laugh a lot when I talk to him. Okay, then the Lord blessed all the prachetas, saying, "My dear princes, by my mercy, you can enjoy all the facilities of this world, as well as the heavenly world. Indeed, you can enjoy all of them without hindrance and with full strength for 1 million celestial years."
Right. So somehow they're blessed, like they're going to be engaged in Lord Vishnu's service and still enjoy materially.
Did you know, this is a total squirrel, but I have to say it. Because we just talked about
you don't have to.
No, not Madame Mohan. We talked about forget it.
This is the worst squirrel of all time.
No, it was a good squirrel. You don't want it. You're not going to get it.
Okay.
Those who are engaged in auspicious activities and devotional service certainly understand that the ultimate enjoyer of the beneficiary of all activities is the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Did you skip 18?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were doing even numbers or odd numbers. Therefore, you will develop unadulterated devotional service unto me and be freed from all material contamination. At that time, being completely unattached to material enjoyment in the so-called heavenly planets, as well as in the hellish planets, you will return home back to Godhead.
Okay.
Yes, Austin Powers. Thank you, Dr. Rippentoe. Because we were talking about Austin Powers, I was in India and...
We were talking about Austin Powers?
No,
yes, I said 1 million years. You'll be under... So because we were talking about Austin Powers, I was in India at a party with Radhanath Swami, and who was at the party? Not Austin Powers, but the woman from Austin Powers, the beautiful one.
Elizabeth Hurley.
Elizabeth Hurley was at... Were you at that party?
Maybe. I don't remember that, though.
You would remember if Elizabeth Hurley was with you and Radhanath Swami.
Well, maybe it was a big party.
Can't you just say, no, you were Raghunath? Can't you just say that? You're like, yeah, I probably was. I was probably talking to her.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks
Isn't
for
that
sharing
interesting fun fact?
Yeah, that was great. Can we continue?
That means Elizabeth Hurley heard about... Look at Kostuba rubbing his eyes. Why is he going?
We're breaking it up here. We need some flow here, Raghunath. We need some flow.
People want banter, Kostuba. Don't be a fool. Those who are engaged in auspicious activities in bhakti, in devotional service, certainly understand that the ultimate enjoyer or beneficiary of all activities is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Thus, when one acts, he offers the results to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and passes life always engaged in the topics of the Lord. Even though such a person may be participating in family life, he's not affected by the results of his action. So in family life, there's a lot of things that don't seem holy. You're just dealing with the material world. There is a way out of that. and that's adding bhakti to your so-called material existence. Your material existence becomes perfected.
Yeah, this verse right here is just like pure Bhagavad-gita teachings right here, right?
Mm.
How to engage in this world and do it in such a way where you don't become entangled.
Yeah.
Right.
And when you're not abandoning all the people that you love, or your career, or your, or your
Yeah,
jobs, or
both
your
can be
homes.
done. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a principle here that when one's intention is selfless, then work becomes liberating, or you could say work becomes yoga, right? If we were to do a study of the Upanishads, say, right, which are presenting in general an idea that this world is illusory, that engagement in it is entangling, that the wisest path is to walk away from the things of this world, from the responsibilities of this world, from the, even you could say from like the relationships, like and walk away even from family life, right? Walk away from the business world, right? Walk away from your occupation and so on. Seclude yourself, go deep within, and liberate yourself from all these entanglements, right? Break all the attachments in your mind. Here it's saying that that there's another way, that you don't have to walk away from this world to cease from being entangled from it. You can engage in it, but it has to. But the key here, actually, Prabhupada's going to call this. Let me read this. This is from the commentary here, right? Prabhupada writes, "One who tries to enjoy the results of their activities becomes bound by the results." Okay, that's it's really a profound sense. Although, again, I think the way Prabhupada phrases it might make it a little hard pill to swallow, or something like, what's wrong with enjoying? And like, if I do something, why shouldn't I
Enjoy it, right?
enjoy it? Yeah, like, and I don't think that's exactly what he's meant. It's like we're not allowed to enjoy in the world. We're not allowed to be happy. We're not allowed to have pleasure.
Well, there's a caveat when devotees say the word enjoy, because we know we are not the enjoyer. God is the center. We are meant to enjoy through service. So even when we were walking around in this world, some people say to us, hey, okay, see you later. Go, enjoy yourself. We're always like, no, don't say that.
Yeah. So here, really, what's being the way that I interpret that when it says that one who tries to enjoy the results of their activities, it means I'm trying to enjoy them in forgetfulness of reality. I'm trying to forget them. I'm trying to enjoy them in forgetfulness of who it belongs to, right? The source of where all this came from. A yogi is trying to like become always aware, always conscious of their connection to their very source, because their nature is tied to that source. And then illusion is when we try to like ignore that, try to enjoy that energy, which really isn't ours, as if it didn't come from anywhere, as if it's mine. And that action causes bondage. That brings karmic reaction that we have to experience, and it also kind of programs the mind in a particular way, which is part of the reaction, right? So he says, one who tries to enjoy the results of their activities becomes bound by the results. One who offers the results or profits to the Supreme, however, does not become entangled in the results. This is the secret of success. Right, here's the secret. There's a little formula here.
The secret.
It's the well, that was it.
That was it. Yeah. Thank you for the secret.
Yeah, one who offers the results or profits to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, however, does not become entangled in the results. This is the secret of success. Now, Prabhupada goes on. Generally, people take sannyasa. They walk away from the world, right? They renounce the world to become free from the reactions of fruitive activity. I think if I engage in family life, if I engage in business life and occupation, if I engage in social circles, in social duties and responsibilities, I will become entangled. So therefore, people take sannyas, they walk away from it. So he says, generally people take sannyas to become free from the reactions of fruitive activity. Sure. One who does not receive the results of their actions, who doesn't take them for themselves, but offers them instead to the Supreme, certainly remains in a liberated condition. It's like what do we say? You're
In
in the
this
world, but
world,
not
but
of
not
it.
of this world.
Yeah. Yeah. So this is just the fundamental principle that's so important. It's so highlighted in the Bhagavad Gita, and it's crucial for all of us dented cans in the material world who are not very likely to wander off and practice a different type of yoga.
It's a different type of approach to spirituality, because when the material world gets complicated, the romantic thing for a budding spiritualist is, I'm over this. I'm out of here. This is too mundane. I'm going to retreat. I'm going to retire. This is too complicated. I want to just be alone with God. And it is a romantic concept of being a hermit, living alone, getting a tiny home, getting a piece of land. Guess what happens? Very common. You get lonely.
Okay.
And two, when you're alone, you bring your mind with you. And unless the mind has been trained, unless the mind has been completely fortified, the mind can get the best of you in a lonely situation. And I've heard, who told me this? Lev is he's our resident Prabhu here. He lives near us at Super Soul, and he comes all the time for kirtan. Super nice devotee, but he's sort of like he built a little house for himself off the grid, not far from us, 30 minutes away. But he goes, you know what? I just love the association. I want to come be with you guys. You get lonely, and then all of a sudden, then you're dealing also with your mind, and then your mind sometimes can get the best of you. And so, he's over here a lot because it makes sense that we need constant, unless we're incredibly fixed, incredibly trained, the mind will get the best of us. Better we have a life and add Krishna, add spirit, add truth, add wisdom to it.
Yeah.
And then see that all the difficulties are getting handed to me, and how I deal with them will be the new metric for my spirituality, not how I can escape from them.
Nice, Raghunath. Nice. Yeah. Let's go to a little third chapter of Bhagavad Gita here, Raghunath. Okay.
Yeah.
Because in the second chapter, Krishna he shares these beautiful descriptions of what he calls the Stita Dhir Muni. Right. Arjuna says, describe to me that enlightened person. What are they like? Tell me what their symptoms are like. And Krishna responds, he gives this whole definition, how detached this person is, right? How detached they are from material things, how unaffected they are by external things, how deeply renounced they are, and so on. What a peaceful yogis they are. And you can imagine that Arjuna, in the circumstance that he was in, he didn't want to engage in the battle, right? He's like saying, yes, that's what I'm looking for, exactly. But at the same time, Krishna's telling him, now you have to fight. And so Arjuna's like, what? Like, it seems like you're telling me two different things here, right?
Right.
So when the third chapter opens up, Arjuna says to Krishna, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence, the term that was used was buddhi yoga, right? Contemplation and reflection, if you're telling me contemplation and reflection, if that's better than engagement in this world, then why are you asking me to engage in this battle? Right? Like, perform my duty as a warrior and all that. He says, my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Seems like you're telling me two different things. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial, fighting this war or being a reflective yogi. Which one do you want me to do? And Krishna responds, oh, Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Two ways that it's done, right? Some are inclined to do it by the empirical philosophical speculation. The term, I believe the Sanskrit term he uses here is karma sannyasa, or jnana yogena. Oh, so he's saying here through jnana yoga, which is implying the path where you walk away from the world, right? And he says, and others are inclined to do through karma yoga, right? Which means the path where you engage your works as a path of yoga. So he's saying there are two different ways to practice yoga, Arjuna. Some people walk away from the world. Some people engage with the world. He said, and then he gives this warning. And this is similar to what you were sharing, Raghunath, okay?
Tell me.
He says, not merely by abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, right? If you're thinking, my work entangles me in this world, then if I stop work, I won't be entangled. He says, not so simple, because your mind is, right? He says, not merely by abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one achieve perfection, right? Just walking away from everything doesn't give, you're not a yogi just because you did that. And then he gives this important point. He's going to speak about we're all conditioned in certain ways. It's not wise to ignore that. Right? So he says, everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities they have acquired from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. He's saying everyone's engaged on one level or another. We have these programs as minds, and they're driving us in different directions. But this is important. You ready, Raghu?
Yep.
He says, one who restrains the senses of action, in other words, I'm not going to engage with this world. I'm not going to enjoy the things of this world. I'm not going to take up responsibilities in this world, family life, all that. One who restrains the senses of actions, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called
A pretender.
pretender. Right? You don't know that song. I thought that you might break it. Right?
What's the song?
What's that? Yes, I am the great pretender.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Or then there's Chrissy Hine and the Pretenders. I wonder if she made that from a spiritual
There's a lot of pretender songs.
perspective.
Isn't there? I think
Well,
Jackson Brown had a pretender song. Oh, you think that
No,
might
but
have?
Chrissy Hine is a devotee.
She thinks she may have taken it from that.
Maybe.
It's possible. It's possible.
Chrissy Hine, we were going to get her on the show. Remember in the
We
early
tried.
days? We
She
should
shot
try
us
that.
down. She shut us
Shut
down.
us down. She shut us down hard.
Gotta try
Like,
again.
I'm busy. No,
But
but
I think-
let's get her back.
I think this response
her.
was try again later. So
Yeah,
get
it's time to
such a
try
rise on
again.
that.
There are a
such-
few try again laters I got.
Yeah.
You know, I expect everybody to jump when I say, when I say jump. Some people say try again later, and I take that personally, and then I resent them. But it just means I'm busy right now. Come on, big deal.
Now, okay, now hear this. Sir. Here's that verse again. One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. So
Imagine if we had this show like in the 70s and we could have got the Beatles on the show.
would have been great.
How
Raghunath.
cool would have that been? Okay, Sunday's guest is George Harrison. He'll be here talking about what it was like meeting Prabhupada. How cool would that be?
Would have been great.
Huh?
Okay, so getting back to this verse, Raghunath, I'll read it for the third time. One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on the sense object, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. So that's like he's given the negative there. Now here's the contrast, right? On the other hand, if a sincere person, right? Like there's even, like kind of an implication, like one may renounce in an insincere way. One is likely to renounce in an insincere way. But if a sincere person tries to control their active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga without attachment, they're by far superior.
Ooh.
Right. So he's saying the sincere karma yogi is way better than the pretender jnana yogi.
Sure.
Right. Which, as you were saying, is the more maybe romantic or stereotypical idea of what a yogi is.
Well, it's escapism. You can walk away from your problems. Oh, my husband or my wife is driving me crazy. My kids are driving me crazy. My house, I've got bills. I'm out of here. I'll walk away and I'll just create a little peace alone. And then, unfortunately, my mind travels with me. And then you're meditating on the objects of the senses while you're in this renounced position.
It's a theme repeated again. It's being told to us here. It's a theme repeated again and again. Prabhupada writes in the commentary to that 7th text of the 3rd chapter. It's a sentence that always stayed with me. I don't know if you know this one, Raghunath, or you remember it. But he says, a sincere, do you know what he says? A sincere sweeper in the street.
A sincere sweeper of the street. Yeah.
Is far better than the charlatan meditator. We're the charlatan meditators.
Hi, we're the charlatan meditators. It's just like all the pictures on Instagram. Here's a picture of me meditating. Take another one of me meditating.
That's a charlatan meditator. Yeah. And
Once you take a picture of it, you're not meditating any longer.
True. Now, Prabhupada, not Prabhupada, but Krishna, again, he'll drive this point home at the beginning of the 6th chapter. Just this powerful verse, right? Powerful verse. Where he says, one who is unattached to the fruits of their work, but who works as they're obligated. Right. In other words, one who's responsible, who's engaging in this world responsibly in their social roles as a parent, as a spouse, or in their occupation, in the business world, or whatever it may be. One who does that, but without attachment. Right. I'm not doing it with the attitude that I'm going to get my happiness from the money that I get from this work. That's where my happiness. No, they're saying like, I'm doing this because it's my responsibility. It's my duty. Right. And it's important that I do it. But I don't think my happiness comes from here. I know that my happiness comes from within. So I do this with detachment. I do this with knowledge. So one who is unattached to the fruits of their work and works as they are obligated, they are in the renounced order of life. He specifically uses the term sannyasi, right? Which means the renounced, which refers to the stereotypical person who walks away. They are really truly renouncing. Right? It's an internal renunciation. Externally, they may not look renounced. They may look just as entangled as everybody else in this world.
Sure.
But he's saying they're actually renounced, and he says they're also the true mystic. He says they're a sannyasi and they're a yogi, right? They're the true sannyasi, the true yogi, and he says, and not he who lights no fire and performs no duty, right? Which refers to the fact lighting the fire has to do with that a person that's following the Vedic teachings in the material realm, whenever you do those things, like when you get a new house, you do a fire ritual, right? When you have a new child, you do a fire ritual. When you start a new business, you do a fire ritual. So he's saying the real renouncer is the one that's doing all of that, but with detachment, and not the person that walks away from it all. It's a big statement,
Hey, if you want to learn work without detachment to sense gratification,
yeah,
try raising little children, like really little children. You have to just you've got to. I'm doing this, and I'm getting nothing back. Putting a baby that doesn't want to go in a car seat. You got to be like, okay, I'm going to do my pranayama now because this kid is doing back bends, trying to get him in the car seat. It is like the most selfless, thankless task ever.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it necessarily qualifies as yoga, though.
It does.
In all cases?
No, otherwise it could be totally entangling. But if you're doing this, like, this is my duty, I'm getting nothing out of this. I'm a bhakta, and I've got to take care of these kids. I've got to love these kids. I got to work for these kids. I got to give them the fruits of my labor. And I'm focused on, but my goal is bhakti. Of course it is.
Yeah, no, that is. But I'm saying in general, most people have children thinking that they're going to derive their happiness through their children. So all of that just becomes part of their attachment, right? Like the duties that they have to carry out are within the context of their attachment.
Yes. It's depending on their intention and their consciousness.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
It's dependent on their intention and their consciousness while they're doing all these things.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Okay. Want to keep going?
Number 20. Always engage in activities of bhakti. Devotees feel ever increasingly fresh and new in all their activities. The all-knower, the super soul within the heart of the devotee, makes everything increasingly fresh. This is known as the Brahman position by the advocates of the absolute truth. Advocates of the absolute truth. That's a great statement. A great name of a band. In such a liberated stage, Brahma-bhuta, one is never bewildered, nor does one lament or become unnecessarily jubilant. This is due to the Brahma-bhuta situation, right? It's not just like you're depressed about the bad things. You're not, well, this is so intoxicated by material happiness, unnecessarily jubilant, right?
Yeah,
It's
right.
another type of illusion.
I mean, look at these Prachetas, right? Like they grew up in the home of King Prachini Barhishat, who we just read all about, and whose material attachments were identified by Narada, and who was ultimately told to now you've reached the age where you should walk away. They're young, and they walked away, right? And they spent long periods of time in deep meditation, detached from everything, no external sense gratifications, just going within, you know. And you could imagine the peace that they found in that, the contentment that they found. And now they're coming out of the water, and they'll be told to get married, create progeny, take up responsibility, you know, in leadership in the world. And the response might be like, do I really have to? You know, like I've already found my peace here as a yogi. Why should I get into and Vishnu's assuring them, no, because you're going to do it with detachment, you will not become entangled. And as a matter of fact, you're going to be feeling, what does he call it, ever increasingly fresh and new in all your activities. You're not going to become some hackneyed, tedious material kind of experience. You know, you're going to have like this dynamic, increasingly fresh. You know, Prabhupada writes some nice stuff in the commentary. He says, a devotee is inspired by the super soul within the heart to advance in devotional service in a variety of ways. The devotee does not feel hackneyed or stereotyped, nor does he feel that he is in a stagnant position. I know a lot of us feel that way at different times in our life, right? Like, what am I, what am I stuck in here? You know, just like, is this all that there is to life? You know, getting up every day and going to work. And he's saying, even if that is your external situation, when you're doing it with detachment, when you're doing it with devotion, it becomes ever fresh. And he says the super soul, the Paramatma, gives instructions to the sincere, unalloyed devotee on how they can progress more and more in approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Srila Jiva Goswami in this connection says that the super soul, the plenary expansion of the Personality of Godhead, exists in everyone's heart. But in the heart of the devotee, he reveals himself as ever increasingly new. Being inspired by him, the devotee experiences increased transcendental bliss in the execution of their devotional service.
It's lovely.
It's incredible, right? I mean, to me, you hear this and it sounds like Prabhupada speaking from realization here, right?
Right.
It's like, you know, when you let go of your fruitive mentality, when you let go of like, this world is meant for my enjoyment, and you just enter that flow of devotion, right? You become completely absorbed and let me serve another. Let me connect with God. Let me become truly a servant. Even if your external situation is still like looking really mundane, you know, I have this job, I have this family, I've got to do these things. That Krishna, who's in the heart of everyone, begins to, how does he say it? He reveals himself as ever increasingly new, right? And you experience increased transcendental bliss. He kind of reveals himself to you in his heart in special ways. It's there.
Special ways. Sweet. Well, Kastuba, guess what it's time for? It's time for Mara to read her collection of the little goodies that she's extracted of the show. It's time. It's goodie time. Mara, want to share some takeaways with us?
Add bhakti to your material life for perfection.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Engage with detachment to avoid entanglement.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I like that one.
With selfless intention, work can liberate.
Sure can.
You can enjoy, but always be aware of the connection to source.
You can enjoy.
That's what you took from that?
That's I took away half of that. You can enjoy.
Train and fortify the mind.
Train it.
Train
Fortify
it.
Sincerity and intention are essential.
Okay.
Remember when you'd read like Lucky Charms is fortified with 12 essential vitamins. It's like,
Lucky Charms, really?
yeah, they're like, really?
How you deal with challenges is the metric of your spirituality.
Oh,
Okay.
That sounded like it was coming from a wise source.
Very wise. Devotional service is ever fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And meditation selfies don't count.
No, they don't. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, the Costa Rican retreat. Make sure you check that out. Led by Rukmini and Ashley Ellenboss, and Kylie Brown will be there. That sounds like a fun retreat. If you're identifying as a woman, you can go. And so excited. And how do they contact that again? Urban Davy? Bhakti Center's website, bhakticenter.org. Also, Italy. If you're on the list for Italy, you got to put down a deposit. Write Vivi today at
WOTSItaly@gmail.com.
And remember the holiday extravaganza with
yeah.
Raghunath, Mara, and Kastuba at Divya's Kitchen. We'll put a reservation. We're going to pack that place out. If we pack it out like it's our place, maybe we have a kirtan right there. That could be good. And so it's going to be good. We're having dinner together on the 23rd, like 5 to 7:30-ish. We'll do something. We'll go upstairs to the Bhakti Center and hang. If you want to do that, email Mara right now and write extravaganza in the subject line. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Sometimes people join late. I don't get to say good morning to them. Join us live on Zoom if you want. It's sort of fun. Go to wisdomofthesages@gmail.com, wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com, and write Mara, and she will send you the secret codes to enter into our secret chambers. Thank you for joining us. Bhagavatam every day. Let's dance. Let's sing. Haribo!